Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to look at securing communication between the nodes in a MemSQL cluster. The first step in creating this secure connection is to get a certificate with a trust chain. In production scenarios, we'll want to get this certificate from a certificate authority. If we have an internal PKI infrastructure, we'll get a certificate from that internal PKI infrastructure. Here, let's use self-signed certificates. Self-signed certificates don't normally create a trust chain, so we'll reach out to MakeCert, a GitHub project, to be able to create these certificates that have a built-in trust chain. Here's MakeCert. So let's move MakeCert into our path. Now with MakeCert in our path, let's move the root certificates that MakeCert will use to create that trust chain into the spot that it expects. And now we'll install these certificates into the Linux trust chain. Great, now we have the certificates installed. Now let's create new certificates that MemSQL can use. Now we've got the directory created. Let's use MakeCert to create a certificate that has all of the host names and SANs that we need. Now that we've got that certificate created, we can see the certificates here in certs. Now we'll also need that root certificate, and we'll make these certificates readable. Great. Now we have our certificate with a trust chain. The root CA is that root certificate, and we have a key and certificate that we can use to start our cluster. Now let's install these certificates into place using MemSQL tools. We'll install the certificate, the private key, and the certificate root. Now that we've got the configuration set, let's restart our cluster so this can take effect. Great, now we have our cluster started, and communication between nodes will be through SSL. We can also use SSL as we connect from the command line. The MemSQL client is installed in this machine, but we could also use any MySQL client. -H for the host, localhost, -P for the port, 3306, -U for the username, root. We'll prompt for the password with lowercase p, and we'll say SSL mode equals required. Prompt for the password. And now we're logged in. We can verify that we're using SSL by saying show status. As we look through here, we can see SSL version is TLS 1.2. And SSL cipher AES 128, SHA-256. Now that we've verified that we can log in, we can create users that require SSL to log in. We've created the user, and now let's mark this user as requiring SSL to log in. This last piece, require SSL, is the magic sauce that means that this user won't be able to authenticate if they don't use SSL. Let's exit out as root and log in as this new user. Great, we're in. Show status, and we can see that we're logged in using TLS. Now let's try to log in without SSL. Even with the correct username and password, we get an error message. The user is configured with require SSL, but the connection is not SSL. This user must use SSL to be able to authenticate. This is perfect. We were able to create an SSL certificate, add it to our cluster, restart our cluster so that it would use this certificate, and then create a user that required SSL to be able to authenticate. We now have secure communication into our cluster. Thanks for watching.